let's get this party going. Anyways, good to be back. Been in the bush too long. Anyways, good to be back here and to hear Gary and Marcus tonight. And now we're back on our old platform. We tried to do the new platform last night, and it was quite funny. But we're going to practice on there for a little while, and we're going to come back like blockbusters. The Saturday webinar is going to be on this platform, so anybody going to the other platform not going to find us there, but we will be over here. So like to welcome everybody here. We have a small group tonight, 17 people, but you know what happens, I put this up on YouTube and then that turns into like 700 people. So they really like to wait for the webinars to come up, and a lot of people that want to come on, they just aren't awake. Or they're busy and they have family, and we can all understand that. And a lot of times too, they're working out of you know, an iPad or a cell phone or whatnot. Our other platform is going to accommodate that a little better. It's just getting up to speed with that. John Randolph, our webmaster, doing a great job. And we got lots of good things going to be putting in there, and that, so it's going to be pretty cool stuff. So, and again, people are going to come straggling in here, and that's all right, because we want you all to learn what you're going to do with your money. And I know some people are saying, yeah, if we ever get it. We won't go there, folks. All right, everything's being worked out here. So anyway, I'd like to welcome Ann, Bob, Carl, Chad, Donna, Frederick, Gary, John, Leroy, Lisa, Marcus, Mario, Mike, RC, Rishi, Susan, Teddy. Okay, so there they all are. And Gary, just give me a minute to give you a microphone, and we will get started. Okay, let me mute myself. Just give me a sec. And we're going to be going zip, zip, zap, zap. Okay, so let me mute.
Good evening, everyone. This is Gary Cleveland. I'm out here in Seattle, Washington, on the west coast of the USA. Again, I'm going to be a little brief tonight. I just found out that a very close friend of mine who has been a mentor in my earlier career and an ex-business partner has passed in the last few days, and his wife just sent me a brief note. So it's hitting me emotionally pretty hard at the moment. And that makes this moment a very powerful moment. So introducing myself, I'm an information technology consulting firm creator, a business development management consultant, an asset protection consultant with a focus on asset protection for the last 6 years. Had a career mainly on the West Coast, which started in the Chicago area of the Midwest of the United States, with a heritage and family in the Midwest, in Wisconsin and Illinois, and early education and early college education and career in the Chicagoland area, so good Midwest guy. Transplanted out to Seattle in the middle of 1978, which gives you an indication of how long I've been working as a consultant. So I offer my services to you tonight in the subject of asset protection. And I'm very knowledgeable in business development, in corporate creation, in corporate strategies, and have been creating and running corporations for 30 years. Okay, there, I said it. So the subject is asset protection, and we've done a few webinars in recent weeks. I've listened to a few of them, and actually some of them pretty good. So asset protection is the subject, and what the heck is it? Well, it is a series of strategies and business structures to get your assets and your money out of your personal name and into a legal structure where you own nothing and control everything. Well, that's a big statement, and it's a process. The reason we might even suggest that process is liability and the current total lack of financial privacy in the United States, and I suspect many other international countries that are part of this group. In the United States, with a Social Security number, an attorney or anyone else can find out everything you own. They can find out your credit rating, who you are, where you live, what you got, what your bank accounts are, and basically the simple thing of being rear-ended in an auto accident could lead to a set of circumstances where someone comes after everything you have beyond what your insurance might cover. There's many other scenarios, but basically we're in the USA and there's way too much lawsuit action going on in this country. Bridgeway Financial Corp, the asset protection company that I represent, is located in Seattle, Washington, in the Columbia Tower, which is a large glass, steel, black tower, which may be still the highest, tallest building in the West Coast. And it's been rumored that there are more attorneys in that particular one building than there are in the entire country of Japan. We live in the USA, not all of you do, but most of us do, and we're in a very litigious society. So, wherever you're making your money, a job, passive investments, normal stocks and bonds and other investments, the whole subject is how to get it out of your name, pay less taxes, control it, keep it for your family, pass it on for the next generation, and not let anybody get at it unnecessarily. That's why we talk about the subject of asset protection. Whatever you got, let's hang on to it, control it, pay less tax on it, and protect it. So we'll continue on with this for weeks. The reason I'm talking tonight is that the passive investments that most of you are involved in, whatever the name of the program, I don't care, are considered high risk in the larger scheme of things. Now, apparently one of the major programs called Zeek Rewards went down this week. And with the invasive United States government tactics on all of these subjects, with the Dodd-Frank law and recent changes, all of these programs are under high scrutiny. David's the expert. I defer to him. He spoke about it at length last night, and all I am doing is commenting on what he's bringing to life with his team, his research, and his hands-on experience in these passive programs. The example being used is the subject of clawback. Apparently in the famous Bernie Madoff case of recent years, in the ongoing investigations, anybody that made any money anywhere is subject to review, because a lot of people lost money and a lot of people made money. So the concept is if they can investigate or go after anyone that made money, in the program that might actually get some of it back and be able to adjust where it came from toward all those many, many people that totally lost money. Can't explain it technically. I'm not trying to. I'm not a CPA or an attorney. But in the world of investing, when the government gets involved in something and they try to go after money that's been made, there's the subject of clawback, which I'll let David Lockwood comment on in his ongoing conversation with you folks. The only reason I mention it now is 99% of you are doing all these passive programs in your own personal name. And when you are making money, and when you're getting it out of your payment processors into your own hands to spend, it's typically coming into your personal bank account, your personal checking and savings accounts, which might be accounts that you're paying for groceries and your household expenses and your mortgage payment or your rent. I consider this, it's what it is at the moment. I consider it highly risky because if we've seen one major program go down this week, any program at any time could be subject to the same examination or the same possible risk. I'm not talking about individual programs, I'm talking about the concept of all this. So, in the world of passive income, I would suggest to you that an asset protection strategy would be to acquire an asset-protected Nevada corporation or an offshore international banking corporation. And I talk about those at length in prior webinars, and I will again in the future. The subject of Nevada Corporation, in the state of Nevada, there are unique laws that protect officers and directors of the corporation and the assets of the corporation. And a Nevada corporation cannot be broken or penetrated in any way unless there is strong out-and-out convicted felon activity going on. In other words, if you're a crook, they can break your corp. That's not stated appropriately, but 99% of you or 100% of you are not. And if you create an asset protection Nevada corporation to take your passive incomes, you will pay less tax, the income will be out of your name, and will be protected. And in the world of clawback, if there were anything to happen, it would come to the corporation and not to your personal checking bank account that you're paying your groceries in your house with. So basically, high-risk stuff is passive programs that you're in are high risk, and they could go down at any time. And having a Nevada corporation would protect you by getting the asset out of your name, so you don't personally own it, and to protect you legally in these sticky times. So we're going to own nothing and control everything. Now, if you have a Nevada corporation, your passive incomes come into ordinary income to your corporate banking account. They're not in your grocery account. An example of tax benefit of a Nevada corporation for anyone in the world, U.S. or otherwise, is the first $50,000 profit coming into a Nevada corporation pays 15% tax to the U.S. IRS. Now, for Americans, that's fairly favorable. For international people, it's part of a larger strategy. Many of you are in countries where tax is higher than that in your personal incomes. And you can take part of your income and shield it in a Nevada Corp. Anyway, there's some strategies, and we get into those with you one-on-one with personal planning. the main thing here is we're not putting your passive income in your grocery account. We're putting it in a legal corporation where it has asset protection and where you can have a whole lot of expenses paid by the corporation to reduce your taxable income before the end of the year. Now, I'm a technology guy and a business development guy, and I've never been interested in tax personally. However, the whole concept here is not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. So we're in that ballpark in this education process. Now, Nevada Corp applies to anybody in the world, but mostly to people in North America, US and Canadian. It is extremely attractive. For a US person, there is an advanced strategy of having both a Nevada corporation and an IBC, which is called an International Business Corp. And we have a unique structure where our Nevada Corp owns the IBC, which means that if you ever make money in the offshore corporation and its investments, and you bring it back to spend in the U.S. or wherever the Nevada Corp lives, which is the U.S., the tax is paid in the Nevada Corp, and no one knows the offshore corp even exists. It's another layer of privacy. That gets into the whole subject of international business corps. Now, anybody here, anywhere in the world, can have an international business corp. Why would they want to do that? Well, they're getting assets out of their name. An international business corp is done in some favorable locations in the Caribbean that have total privacy laws, where it's absolutely illegal for them to disclose anything about your corp, that it exists or where its banking is. So an IBC can also do business anywhere in the world, and it can get banking established anywhere in the world once the IBC is proof of incorporation shown. So your IBC, International Business Corp, can do business anywhere in the world, can bank anywhere in the world, and have your assets out of your personal name. The international clients in this call can have an IBC directly, and it can be owned by them personally or by any corporation or corporate entity that they have in any country. So an IBC is available to you as international investors. As US and Canadian investors, the IBC is available to you also, but it's strongly recommended you have a Nevada Corp first for an added layer of legal protection and lower tax and privacy. Now, I've probably confused everyone because I'm talking about two subjects. They're both individual and combined depending on a personal strategy that I develop with you. The way that I, as an asset protection consultant, operate is that I'm available from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. West Coast time by email, telephone, or Skype. I have a database where I capture your information privately, so at least I know how to contact you by email, or pick up the phone and call you, or reach you via Skype. And I know your general situation in terms of what corporation names you might like, your basic contact information, and then I keep track of our emails, our notes, our phone calls, our documents, and each person is available instantly with my computer search. I keep great records because I have that kind of background. So even if it's been a year since we've talked, I can talk to you about our last conversation. So, Gary Cleveland, mature guy, white beard, looks like Santa Claus, got his picture here and his website for Bridgeway Financial. We have his phone number, We have his office in Kirkland, Washington, which is the east suburbs of Seattle, and a couple miles down the road from Microsoft. And we have my website, which has a bunch of basic information. So you contact me by email at any time. And domestically, you can call me. I'm available. I'm here 6 days a week. I recommend that you fill out an NCIF, New Client Information Form, so that I can contact you easily. I develop with you custom strategies in asset protection for your personal situation. They're private, they're custom. My time is never charged for, and I'm compensated by Bridgeway when you purchase a Nevada Corp or an offshore corp. So, to you, it's a good deal, because I have a background to understand where you're at. I listen, I keep great records, I consult with you ongoingly, and you personally don't ever pay for my time. The whole subject of asset protection is really planning, and planning now. Of course, it's education, like what is it, what does it mean, what might it mean to me, so we're in a basic education process together. But the example, the simple example is that you don't buy car insurance after you've had an accident. You plan ahead. You maintain your car, you have auto insurance. Asset protection is way past auto insurance, and it is a planning process. So, I represent Bridgeway Financial as an independent consultant, and this organization is made up of tax planning experts, attorneys, and CPAs. And I represent this asset protection company, which is still a relatively new category in the United States and well known in many other parts of the world. I've gotten pretty good at it. I've got hundreds and hundreds of clients, and a growing international practice for you folks out there, because in your case, if you do a Nevada Corp, it's always a closed C Corporation. They all operate the same, and I can make that distinction with you. For American citizens, we often recommend we make them an S or subchapter S corporation, which is a whole subject by itself. I can get into it with you. It's just a different approach to using a Nevada Corp. Basically, C Corp pays its own tax as a legal standalone person. Anybody outside of the U.S. has to have a C Corp. A subchapter S for U.S. citizens is the opportunity to take all the cash out of the bottom of the corporation each year after all expenses and to pass it on to your personal tax. So it gets into a personal tax planning issue and some advanced strategies that we have available if you have a lot of money going through your corp. So, Nevada Corporation, unique structure, could be acquired by anyone in the world. International Business Corporation can be acquired by anyone in the world. And some of you may benefit by having both, or one or the other. No cookie cutter, personal custom planning. So at this point, considering I'm still adjusting to the death of one of my major lifelong mentors professionally, I think I'll open it up to David to Q&A, or however he'd like to proceed, because I'm a little wiped out, and I've done the introduction for tonight that I wanted to get us started. As I recall, this platform Yeah, David says enough questions. We'll do them at the end. So I guess we're one speaker at a time on this platform. Um, so I can either give the mic back to David or uh, get into Q&A. But I think I'd like to give the mic back to David at the moment and see where you're at, as we're now, 28 minutes into our conference. Looking up the page here because there are a few questions. Question, Gary, does Nevada have a state tax? No, no state tax in Nevada, so it's U.S. federal tax only. And can military retirement be moved into a Nevada Corp? Well, let's put it this way. You can assign any income as long as you're not a salaried employee to a Nevada Corp. So if it's 1099 income, if it's miscellaneous income, you can write me a specific personal question on that. I may have to go ask an expert because I don't know what form military income takes. If you're a salaried employee, you can't take your salary and stick it in Nevada Corp. You could do a loan to the corporation, which might be beneficial for a lot of reasons because you have expenses in the corporation, and the corp can pay you back for that loan at a later time. I mean, we're into strategy, right? Okay. So, next question. Why can't comment about the military income, folks? You got to send me an email, Gary@cintech.com. Okay. Tax strategies, retirement income. Yeah, that's a huge subject of tax strategies and retirement income, and that's not a general comment at this moment. Basically, your offshore corporation can own an IRA, 401k, for example, and if you have a Nevada corporation, there's many advanced CEO benefits plans and benefits paid for by the corporation to you. So it's a huge subject. It's a regular full-blown corporation, folks. You're the CEO of your own General Motors. It's a private corp, and no one knows you have it. Okay, question. If someone has, say, $70,000 in personal income, does a Nevada C Corp, how much needs to go into the C Corp, or how much write-off needed to cancel the personal amount? Again, it depends on what you got going on, but basically in that example, 70,000 US dollars. If you had 20,000 in business expenses and corporate paid benefits plans, then 50,000 of that would be taxable at 15%. That's one example of the answer to the question. Otherwise, someone needs to write me a personal email so I know what the situation is in more detail. Marcus question, Gary, can our international peeps open the IBC first? And what are the benefits? The answer is yes. An international person in any country outside of the U.S. can open an IBC first. They are formed in the Caribbean in the most favorable legal place on one of those islands out there, which is like the Nevada of the Caribbean. The banking is another Caribbean country, so the money lives in a separate country from the IBC legally. And the benefits have to do with total financial privacy because of the privacy laws both in the corporation location and the banking location. Now, there are offshore brokerage firms and brokerage accounts available through the banking firms offshore, which are not available to U.S. citizens and in many cases may not be available to other international citizens of other countries. So there is a sophisticated legal structure available to you which offers total privacy by definition legally, and that has high yield brokerage managed offshore investments through banking and brokerage houses that are not available to U.S. citizens, or most likely not other citizens in a lot of other countries. So, yeah, you can have an IBC first. Recently, I found out that actually an American citizen could have an IBC first, but it doesn't offer you any tax benefit at all, and I'm still sticking to the traditional plan of having a Nevada Corp first for North American folks. So yeah, the subject of IBC, International Business Corp, is a whole subject by itself, and we could probably do a whole seminar just on that. Question: when you have an IBC and you're offered investments, do those sometimes go sour? Well, until recently, we had access to Cayman Island brokerage. But because of the Dodd-Frank law changes, the Cayman Island brokerage houses decided that they could no longer do business with U.S. citizens, and so we've all had to migrate to other Caribbean banking locations. In that case, we had a registered securities licensed broker, but all the investments in the world, beyond all the investments available in the U.S., the answer is an investment's an investment in that world. Any of them could. Some of them are guaranteed, but anything is possible. Now you're into the whole world of international finance and international investing, which is not the subject of this seminar. But any investment has risk. There is one particular guaranteed fund out of London, which is the Lawyers Litigation Fund, which does a guaranteed 12% a year. Based on how it's structured, it is guaranteed. It also requires a minimum of $40,000 to get into it. So, that's probably not most of you today. Question: do international folks pay U.S. taxes if they wish to open a Nevada Corp for the U.S. banking, debit card, online banking, all that? So, the answer is yes, but you decide how much of your money internationally you're putting through your Nevada Corp. So, for you Canadians out there, if you're making $100,000, make sure you're putting 60 or 70 of it through your corp to get your tax down to 15% after expenses. Whether you're going to do 100 or 200,000, well, then you're into advanced tax planning before I could answer the question. And at that point, you're into tax planning with the experts at Bridgeway or our certified financial planner, CPA, Joe Kraft. So we have a national, international CPA available for one-on-one private detailed planning. I can do strategy planning with you, but when it gets to detailed planning, then you go hire one of the experts, and you have the same privacy as you would with an attorney. So, yeah, international folks would pay U.S. taxes if they had a Nevada Corp, but you're deciding how much money you're running through that Nevada Corp. And so with private strategies, 15% will be favorable compared to most countries in the world, based on what I've seen on international tax rates. Okay, next question. David Lockwood: if I take $15,000 from my C Corp and donate to the school my son goes to, now that's a detailed tax question. You can make donations that are tax deductible to nonprofit organizations. You're going to run it by the CPA to make sure it gets done right. The Nevada Corp can also pay generous expenses, including education costs. So that may apply, depending on what the CPA says in detail to that situation. So it may be a tax-deductible donation, or it may be a tax-deductible education expense paid for by the corporation, both of the answered by the CPA. In concept, it could be one or both, and I'm not the final answer on that because it's a tax question. I got a thanks from David, so I guess the question then is, are there any more questions at the moment? Because this platform is definitely different from the one I worked on last week where the mic was open. And, I guess in summary, it's a pleasure to be here, and I decided that tonight I wanted to kind of speak from my heart about protecting yourself with planning long term. It's as much or more about financial privacy and getting the assets out of your name as it is detailed tax stuff. And that all of these things are to protect you and your money and your family and your assets moving forward with some degree of financial privacy. And I represent a firm that has other advanced programs, other advanced structures available for total financial privacy, for family protection, which are more complex and can lead to total financial privacy or estate planning if you have those interests. We have an integrated offering, and that's really why I've stayed with this for 6 years, because coming from the world of systems and programming and computing and software, I understand design, structure, architecture, and that this firm has an architecture of related entities in complex designs available to you wherever they find you, wherever we find you, to take you from wherever you are now to wherever you want your money to be, and to wherever you want your financial future to be as you generate income and wealth, so that you protect it, you keep more of it, and your generation coming after you will keep more of it. I know that's a mouthful, but that's really why I've stayed with this stuff. Question: are these Bridgeway people really legit? How can I trust them with my hard-earned passive income since I live in Jamaica, Ireland, UK, Aussie, etc.? Well, I have been a client with Nevada Corp and other entities for 6 years. The guys I'm dealing with are attorneys and accountants. Now, you're not trusting them with your income. That's the distinction. You're creating a structure and using some strategies, and nobody's ever touching a dime of your income. We're not trying to be anything other than financial... No, that's not the right word. Other than asset protection consultants, creating structures and giving you strategies to do your own work, to protect your own income, to handle your own money and handle your own income so that we never touch a dime of it, and therefore it doesn't matter where in the world you are. We can have these conversations. So yeah, Bridgeway is legit, but the real answer is that you're touching your money, we're not. And I'm not saying that real gracefully because I'm a little tired and a little stressed, but it's a big deal. Your money, you handle it, you protect it, you move it from where it is now to where you want it to be, and we give you a corporate structure or two as a vehicle for you to do your own work with your money. That's really the best answer I can give you. Okay. I got a little thank you note from Marcus. But the big thing about money, yeah, nobody's touching your money ever. You're the only one ever handling it. We create these corporate bank accounts. It's between you and a bank. You're the only signer in the account. This is financial empowerment. This is not somebody handling your money or doing anything. You're doing the work. Any other questions? All right, David. Looks like there are no more questions at the moment. On the last one I answered, it was really the big deal of all of this, which is nobody's touching anybody's money but them. Nobody's moving it around but them. And we're just a vehicle of strategies in corporations to possibly do it better than they're doing it now, or in a way that may protect them more in the long term. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Gary, and you have a well-deserved rest. And again, our condolences to you and to your family, who I'm sure have all met this wonderful person. Okay, I just want to make a couple of comments here. The webinar last night and the video that is up on the YouTube and also in the Passive Peak website. The information that was, sort of like found and put together and everything. A big thank you to Kathy. She's on here now. I know she came in a little late, but she's on here now, and she is credited for researching and gathering all that up, and I'm just the messenger here. Also like to say, for a new client form, please go to www.passivepeeps.com, and when they're asking you for who referred you, or who sent you or whatnot, just put in passivepeeps.com, because that's how they're working this out right now. Also, just a little comment on clawbacks. As basically what Gary had said, and also what was said in the webinar, that the appointed, I guess the appointed, I don't know, litigator or whatever to handle the Zeke's mess there. It is mentioned in one of the articles that you will find on the Passive Peeps forum or blog. I'm always not sure, John, but anyways, there is a link there. You can go in and read them, but they did mention that they might be considering a clawback. They were saying that if you're a little piece of the pie, very unlikely that you were going to be touched. But you can't say never. But it's the ones that make tens of thousands of dollars, which I know many of, and even into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they will be the targets if they do decide to do that. So just so you know what the clawback is, they would want to get that money you made, so they could pay people that completely lost. So. Okay, so want you all to have a good night. We're going to cut it here. I just wanted to say that the webinar on Saturday is going to be on this old platform of iWowWee. We're working together in the new Microsoft Live Meeting platform on the Passive Peeps site. We'll be getting all our staff together, and we'll be testing out a lot of things, and we have our vendor going to Microsoft to ask many questions for us, so John beat him up today. Verbally, that is, folks. He didn't go down to the office. But anyways, he beat him up, so he's got to get us some answers about some things. I didn't like either that the audio bars through the music were beating around there, and that's all you saw. And it was like, ooh, I'm getting sleepy. Anyway, okay, so Saturday will be on this platform. Spread the word. Again, thank you so much, Gary, for taking the time under these conditions and doing the webinar with us. And we look forward to another one next Thursday. And Marcus, thank you so much for putting some answers in there as Gary was talking. And for everybody that showed up, thanks so much. And we will see you on Saturday.